They keep telling you you're free. You've got freedom of choice. But when you look at what they're actually offering, it's always the same damn thing in two different packages. Pepsi or Coke, Democrat or Republican, red label or blue label. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You're still just drinking sugar water, and you're still getting screwed by the same system. That's how they sell you the American version of freedom. They don't give you real choices. They give you brand names. You think you're making a decision that matters, but really you're just flipping a coin and calling it liberty. You can pick Pepsi or Coke, but you can't pick clean water that won't poison your kids. You can pick Democrat or Republican, but you can't pick a government that isn't owned by corporations. The illusion of choice keeps you calm, distracted, and convinced that you've got a say, when really the menu was rigged long before you sat down. They make sure every choice is between two options, both of which serve the same masters. Two brands, same owners. Two candidates, same donors. Two flavors of the same crap. And while you're proudly waving your can of soda or your party's flag, the real owners of the country are laughing because they know it doesn't matter which one you picked. They're cashing in either way. So yeah, you've got freedom of choice. But like George Carlin said, you have no choice. You have owners. They own you. And they'll keep giving you Pepsi or Coke, Democrat or Republican, until you wake up and realize you've been thirsty for something real all along. You ever notice how every choice they brag about giving you always boils down to two nearly identical options? That's the big con. They want you to think you've got freedom, but all you've got is Pepsi or Coke, Democrat or Republican, red tie or blue tie, paper or plastic. And the truth is, none of it matters because it's all the same product in different packaging. They just change the label, shuffle the slogan, slap on a new commercial, and boom, you think you've made a decision. But you didn't. You just played along with their little game of pretend. They've got people convinced that picking between two nearly identical things is the height of freedom. You see, you're not in Russia, you're not in China, you get to choose. Yeah, I get to choose between two corporations that both sell me sugar water, two airlines that both lose my luggage, two political parties that both ship my job overseas. That's not choice. That's an optical illusion. It's like a magician holding up two cards and saying, I pick one. Doesn't matter which one you grab. The deck is rigged. And look how they frame it. Every ad, every campaign, every politician tells you, this choice defines who you are. Like your soda preference makes you an individual. Like your political party makes you noble. They sell you the idea that your identity comes from which logo you stand behind. That way, you'll fight tooth and nail to defend your choice, even though both choices lead you down the same road. You're not defending freedom. You're defending your brand loyalty. And they laugh all the way to the bank because you think you're free when really you're just a consumer on autopilot. Ever walk down the supermarket aisle and notice how much crap there is? 50 brands of cereal, 30 brands of toothpaste, dozens of sodas. You think you're free because you can stand there for 10 minutes agonizing over which one has the best price per ounce. But step back for a second. Who owns all those brands? Take a look. Turns out a handful of companies own almost everything. Pepsi, Coke, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson. A few giant corporations own nearly all of it. So you think you're making a choice, but you're just picking which one of the same 5 companies gets your money. That's the game, folks. That's the game, folks. They make you feel like you're swimming in options, when really you're floating in the same tiny pool. All the different labels, all the colorful boxes, all the shiny cans, it's just camouflage. It's there to make you feel like a powerful chooser when all you've done is hand your wallet to the same small group of people. And once you realize that, it gets funny. You've got a million choices for chips, but you don't have a choice about whether your rent is affordable. You've got endless choices for deodorant, but you don't have a choice about whether your town sells its water supply to a private company. You can spend an hour deciding between Netflix, Hulu, or Disney Plus, but you don't get to decide whether your tax dollars go to bomb another country you can't even find on a map. And isn't it funny how your choice always comes pre-selected for you? In politics, they narrow it down to 2 parties. Out of 300 million people in the country, you get to choose between 2 candidates. That's it. That's freedom of choice. 2 names, both of them already vetted. pre-approved, and financed by the same corporations. And you call that democracy. It's not democracy. It's a cafeteria menu with 2 items, hamburger or cheeseburger. And they tell you, oh, look how free you are. You get to decide. But you didn't get to write the menu. You didn't get to decide what's being served. You're just picking which version of the same greasy slop goes on your plate. And here's the punchline. People actually feel proud about these fake choices. They brag about their team, their brand, their party. They'll fight you in a parking lot over whether Pepsi is better than Coke, whether Democrats are better than Republicans. People have literally lost friends, families, and marriages over this crap, over 2 sides of the same coin. It's tragic comedy. People defend their choice like it means something when really they're both trapped in the same maze, chasing the same cheese, while the system pats itself on the back for keeping them busy. It's not just soda and politics. Look at banks. You've got choices, Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, Citi, but they're all playing the same game. Same fees, same tricks, same scams. They'll all nickel and dime you to death. It doesn't matter which one you pick. The rules are written by them and you lose either way. Same thing with airlines. Delta, United, American. All of them herd you like cattle, cram you into a tiny seat, charge you to breathe their recycled air. Your choice is whether the guy crushing your knees is wearing a Delta shirt or an American one. And yet people cling to this idea that choice equals freedom. As long as they can pick between 2 versions of the same garbage, they feel empowered. It's like letting prisoners choose whether their uniform is blue or orange and then telling them they're free men. No, you're not free. You're still in prison. You just picked the color of your cage. The false variety keeps you docile. It keeps you from noticing what you can't choose. You can't choose whether billionaires hoard all the wealth. You can't choose whether corporations write the laws. You can't choose whether the wars keep going, whether the planet gets trashed, whether your kids drown in student debt. Those aren't on the menu. But hey, you can choose which reality TV show to watch, which phone case to buy, which political ad makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. That's the illusion. They feed you endless little choices to keep you too busy to notice the big ones that you never had in the first place. And the kicker, people argue about it like it matters. They'll spend hours online fighting over soda brands, arguing about which streaming service is better, or posting memes about the other political party being evil. Meanwhile, the real game continues unchallenged. The billionaires don't care which soda you buy, which party you vote for, which bank you use. They own all of it. You're not picking a winner. You're just picking which one of their companies cashes in. It's like being proud of deciding whether to get robbed by the guy with the mask or the guy without it. Either way, you're still missing your wallet. That's what false variety is. It's camouflage for control. They don't need to give you real freedom. They just need to keep you entertained with fake freedom. Keep you feeling like your tiny decisions matter, when in reality, the decisions that shape your life are being made far above your head. In boardrooms and backrooms you'll never enter. And as long as you're satisfied with Pepsi or Coke, Democrat or Republican, they know you'll never demand anything better. You ever notice how no matter who's on the ballot, who's in the commercial, or whose smiling face is on the billboard, the same people always end up on top? That's because both sides, both brands, both products all serve the same masters. The owners, the corporations, the ones with the checkbooks. Politicians are just spokesmodels. They don't run the country, they sell it. They're like used car salesmen with better lighting. The corporations own the lot, they own the cars, they own the financing, and the politician is just there to wave the flag and say, folks, have I got a deal for you? You think the candidates are working for you? They're not. You don't pay them. You give them 1 vote every few years. But the corporations give them millions of dollars up front. Who do you think they're listening to? The person who dropped a ballot in a box or the guy who dropped a suitcase full of cash in their campaign account. And they don't even hide it anymore. Campaign finance is just legalized bribery. Lobbying is just organized corruption. They call it influence, but what it really means is we bought the guy, and he's going to do what we want. It's like this. You get to vote once every 4 years. A billionaire gets to vote every single day with a checkbook. Whose vote do you think counts more? Yours with a sticker that says, I voted, or theirs with a check that says, I own you, that's not democracy. That's an auction. The country isn't run like a republic. It's run like an estate sale, and guess what? You're not invited. You're just the poor sucker who has to buy back the junk they didn't want. Take a look at how many billionaires hedge their bets. They don't care who wins, Republican, Democrat, whoever, they give money to both sides. They fund both campaigns. They go to the same dinners, write checks to the same committees, shake hands with the same power brokers. Why? Because it doesn't matter who gets elected. The billionaire wins either way. It's like betting on a horse race when you own both horses. You can't lose. You don't even have to show up. And you don't have to worry about the fans in the stands arguing about which horse is faster. They're just happy they got to buy a ticket. Look at the laws that get passed. Do you think those are written for you? Do you think some senator is sitting up late at night scribbling out legislation with a quill pen like they're in a history book? No. Those bills are written by corporate lawyers, handed to the politician and slapped with a nice patriotic title like the Freedom and Family Protection Act. And you find out later it was really about deregulating banks, cutting taxes for billionaires, or giving defense contractors another golden parachute. And you can't do a damn thing about it because both parties signed off on it, both took money from the same donors, and both want to keep the gravy train rolling. You ever notice how corporations always win no matter what? The economy crashes, millions of people lose their homes, their jobs, their pensions, corporations get bailed out. Banks commit fraud on a global scale, corporations get bonuses. Oil companies poison entire rivers, corporations get subsidies. And when people complain, politicians say, well, we don't want to hurt business, we've got to keep the market healthy. But when you're broke, when you can't pay your rent, when your healthcare bill could fill a suitcase, do they bail you out? No. They tell you to work harder. They tell you to take personal responsibility. They tell you to stop whining and buy a different soda. That's the part that kills me. People actually think they're choosing. They think when they check a box, they're deciding the future. No, you're just choosing which corporate rep gets to read the script for the next 4 years. One wears a red tie, the other wears a blue tie, but they both sign contracts with the same owners. And the media plays along because they're owned by the same corporations, too. The same 6 companies own almost all the news, the TV, the radio, the movies. So they're not going to tell you the game is rigged. They're going to keep the lights flashing and the cameras rolling so you'll argue about personalities while the real decisions are made in boardrooms. Look at healthcare. Both parties talk a big game about fixing it. One side says a Medicare for all, the other side says a free market solutions. But behind the scenes, both of them are cashing checks from insurance companies, big pharma, hospital chains. That's why nothing ever changes. That's why you pay 10 times what you should for insulin. Why you can't see a doctor without selling your car. Why medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the so-called richest country in the world. Because both Pepsi and Coke are brought to you by the same sponsor. Same thing with war. Ubiquitous. Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter. They'll all tell you they want peace, then sign off on another $1 trillion defense budget. Then you'll all stand in front of cameras and say they support the troops, then send those troops to fight in countries most Americans can't even spell. And when the soldiers come home broken, they give them a handshake, a bumper sticker, and a spot on the sidewalk to beg for change. Meanwhile, defense contractors throw champagne parties because business is booming. Doesn't matter who's in the Oval Office, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon always win. And let's not forget Wall Street. Who bailed them out? Both parties. Who deregulated them in the first place? Both parties. Who let them keep gambling with your money while you scrape by? Both parties. It's not about left or right, it's about up and down. The top owns everything, the bottom fights over scraps, and the middle gets smaller every year. And the owners like it that way. Because as long as you're arguing about whether the red team or the blue team is better, you'll never notice that the green team, the money team, owns both. That's what corporate ownership means. It means no matter who you think you voted for them. It means no matter which soda you think you bought, they own the bottling plant. It means no matter what flag you wave, they cash the check. And as long as you keep playing along, they'll keep running the show. Because the truth is, you don't have freedom of choice. You have freedom to pick which corporate logo makes you feel better while they keep owning everything that matters. They tell you you're empowered because you get to vote, shop, and have your say. That's the big selling point of democracy, right? You're a citizen, you're important, you matter. But if you look close enough, you realize it's all theater. The whole empowerment thing is a stage trick. They hand you a little lever and say, here, pull this every few years and you'll be in charge. Meanwhile, the machine keeps running on autopilot, built and maintained by people you've never met and couldn't vote out even if you tried. That's not empowerment. That's a placebo. It's like a sugar pill they give you to calm you down so you don't notice you're still sick. You ever notice how proud people get about voting? I voted. They put the sticker on. They post it on social media like they just saved the world. But what did you really do? You picked between two options pre-selected by billionaires, funded by corporations, marketed to you like soft drinks. You didn't choose the candidates. You didn't write the laws. You didn't even pick the issues. You just circled in a bubble on a form. And then you walked away thinking you had power. That's like choosing a meal from a menu you didn't write, at a restaurant you don't own, where the chef doesn't care if you like it or not. But they make sure you leave with a little sticker so you'll feel good about the scam. They love when people get emotionally attached to their side. Nothing makes the illusion stronger than pride. If you can convince someone that their team represents a truth and freedom, they'll defend it like it's their religion. They'll fight their neighbor, unfriend their cousin, scream at strangers online. Meanwhile, both sides are signing the same bills, taking the same bribes, cutting the same deals. The people at the top are laughing their asses off because while you're yelling about your guy or their guy, the corporations are quietly buying everybody. That's not empowerment, that's distraction. It's a puppet show, and you're too busy cheering for your puppet to notice the strings. And here's the real joke. Even when people know the system is corrupt, they still think playing along is noble. Well, it's the only system we've got. That's what they say, like that's a reason to keep doing it. Imagine if you had a car that broke down every time you turned the key, and instead of fixing it or getting rid of it, you just said, well, it's the only car I've got. That's the way people treat politics. They know it's a scam, they know nothing changes, but they keep showing up every few years like loyal customers at a broken store. And the store owners are grateful, because as long as you keep showing up, they don't have to change a thing. Shopping is another piece of the illusion. They tell you your purchasing power is your voice. A vote with your dollar, they say. That's empowerment. But what are you actually buying? The same crap made in the same factories owned by the same handful of corporations. So whether you buy brand A or brand B, the same board of directors cashes in. You didn't vote with your dollar. You just confirmed the ownership structure. And the real kicker is, they make you feel responsible for the whole world with your little shopping cart. If you buy the wrong product, if you don't recycle correctly, if you don't support the right charity checkout box, somehow you are the problem. Not the corporations dumping toxic sludge in rivers. Not the billionaires burning more jet fuel in a weekend than you will in a lifetime. No, you. Your straw, your bag, your choices. That's how they flip it. They make you feel empowered while shifting all the blame onto you. Social media turned the illusion into a 24/7 circus. Now everybody thinks their opinion is power. You tweet, you post, you comment, and you feel like you've done something. Already did. You've raised awareness, but what really happens? Whether you clap along, cheer for your side, and wear your little sticker with pride, or whether you finally stand up and admit the truth. The game is rigged, the choices are fake, and the freedom they brag about giving you was sold off a long time ago.